let's go from the northwest to the southwest. We go down to a conservatory there. Is it an Everest conservatory, Rob? Because, you could have had a word at me.
It might be a bit more homemade than that, I think, Craig.
You're one of the directors of rugby. We've checked in with quite a bit over the lockdown, and we've seen you kind of progress at the top. It was very frustrating. You got more laid back. Where are you at the moment now? You got the guys back in training, and we got a restart on the cards.
Yeah, well, we were full on today. Today was really our first full on day, meaning that we had the largest number of the squad in up until now. So you guys have been aware that training numbers were limited to 20 at a time. That's progressed this week. We actually gave the lads have just returned from a week off. So that probably gives you the best indication of where we feel we are physically. We thought the lads were brilliant through lockdown. They came into the stage 1 training, worked exceptionally hard. We had a little bit of time. Stage 2, starting kind of in smaller groups of stage 2, and felt very comfortable giving them a break, because obviously, as Steve was just alluding to, once we start playing again in August, we're going to be playing a lot of games very quickly. There's obviously we've got to get through this season, but then there's whatever happens, there's only going to be a short turnaround, and we're back into things, and actually maintaining. I say this quite a few times. Emotional energy as well as physical energy is going to be one of the battles, and so we've kind of maybe approached it a little bit different to a few clubs who have maybe been waiting for this full-on training bit to start. We've given our lads a break, and we're going to rebuild now over the next 2 weeks, getting ready to, as I say, throw everything we can into the resumption of the season.
Sale Sharks, they could well be in that final with you. They're just growing and growing, and they're going to probably have probably the most heavyweight centre partnership in the world game, I'd say, if they play Manu and Van Rensburg at the same time. How are you feeling about what Steve's doing there at the moment? How much of a threat are they now to you?
Well, listen, I've always been a big believer the table doesn't lie, and there's a reason why they're up there. And it's because they're playing well, they're showing consistency. A little bit like Steve said, what always worries me about teams is when they look like they're enjoying what they're doing, because that really kind of shows that they're comfortable with what they're doing, they're comfortable how they're trying to play, they're comfortable where they're heading as a group. And I think that's the danger I see, is they seem to be enjoying themselves a lot of the time. And as I say, that gives them a lot of direction. For us, and I think this is going to be the interesting thing for us at the start of the resumption, is we actually have to focus on yourself even more than normal. You're going to have a huge lack of video in the first 2 or 3 weeks. We're probably, as coaches and as players, very used to seeing a lot of preparation video and knowing how teams are going to play. I think the interesting thing will be that none of us we play Leicester first up. How are they approaching these next 9 games, 10 games, 11 games? What's going to be? Are they going to rebuild Leicester under a new image with a new head coach? Are they going to work to improve what they already do? That's the challenge for us. The challenge for us is to chuck the best version of Exeter Chiefs on the field against a version of Leicester we're not going to know much about. And I think that makes some of these games coming up very, very interesting. And I think Steve, with Sale being where they are, I think he alluded just now, he'll probably try and improve the version they are, because the version of Sale at the moment is good and is successful. That's very much how we'll probably approach it, try and be a bit better version of ourselves. And as I say, the interesting thing for us is where will Leicester be? Will they be a team looking to use 9 games as a big part of their pre-season and their rebuild and creating something new? Or are they going to be similar because they're embedding in new players to where they were last season? Those are great challenges for us to face.
I guess
they're great little subplots, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Steve Diamond was speaking about how Sale Sharks are traditionally quite slow starters. I guess you and the Exeter Chiefs are the total opposite, often start the season rapid. And you were quoted as saying just recently, we're going to start on fire and get better from there. What is it about your fast starts of the season, and how do you go about preparing your team to really hit the ground running?
I do think the key element to it is mixing in the hard work with the recovery and the time off. I think we ask a lot of the lads, but a little bit, like a lot of coaches say, the harder you work for us, the more fun we can have and the more downtime we can have. And we've always used that as a real mantra. And as I say, we tended to time our run into that first game pretty well, and that's going to be crucial, because I actually said to the lads today in the meeting, a slow start now, and it takes away any of the flexibility you might have around how you can control your squad, manage your squad, how you can feel comfortable at where you're heading. Because if you start having to scramble for points, you can get yourself in a right mess, can't you? I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look through that fixtures and go, "Oh, you don't want to be scrambling after 3 rounds. You don't want to feel under pressure when midweek games are coming thick and fast. You don't want to feel under pressure around the slot you would like to fill. You'd like to be able to move quite well structured and with some planning through that part of the season, and that's all going to depend on picking up points in the early games of the new start."
We've been watching a bit of Super Rugby, Rob, and it certainly looks a little bit different. The way it's been refereed, the breakdown's a little bit tighter. It's been policed quite heavily. It's kind of whistle heavy. What are referees saying to you about how this game might look once we return in August?
The feedback we've had from the Premiership from the Premiership referees has been brilliant. From what I gather, is that they spoke very much about they want to get the balance right around the breakdown, because I think what everyone's seen in Super Rugby is in round 1 whistles go in non-stop, and literally you only had to get a hand near the ball and you were in a turnover. I mean, I spent some time watching one of the games at the weekend, the Chiefs and the Highlanders, and actually it was pretty tough to win a defensive turnover. And if you put your hands near the ball, but they weren't on the ball or they're on the floor, and you still try to win the turnover, I actually thought that the refereeing of the breakdown it's moved slowly and slowly more to the benefit of the attacking team. And if you get things right in attack, if you carry hard, you present quickly and efficiently, it's pretty hard for the defence to win a turnover, because they're starting to realise you can't just go every time someone puts a hand in the ball. It's got to be a turnover. You've got to support your weight. You've got to be trying to actually lift the ball. You've got to create that correct balance. And I think that's what you're going to see. And hopefully the benefit we'll get in the Premiership is that obviously our referees are able to watch that progression that's happened in the Southern Hemisphere, from being probably too quick to blow the whistle to actually now stopping, assessing what actually happened, whether hands to floor, whether elbows to floor, was that a correct entry, before thinking you've got to stop the game. Because what we don't want very marginal calls stopping the game. We want most of the game to flow, but the clear, obvious side entries in attack, or the clear, obvious hands to foot, or whatever, the clear, obvious turnovers to stop the game. Because if we don't have that, we won't have a game. And I actually think our refs are already talking the right language and saying the right words. And I think that's for me sounds exactly what we want to hear. That they're talking a lot more about what we can do rather than what we can't do. And I think that's how you've got to approach it. Let's hear lots of words about how you can play, how you can keep the ball, how you can do things. Not, but you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. We've probably had enough of that for 4 or 5 months now. We want to hear what we can do.
Yeah, I think I got to be careful as well, because after such a long break, people are a bit rusty. You don't want to kill the game with the whistle. Sorry, a bit sidetrack a little bit, Rob, but I've never seen your hair look so fluffy. Have you? What's happened in lockdown? Have you changed your conditioner, or talk us through?
I think it's just that natural bleaching that happens when you're outside a lot. I think this is as good as it's been. I didn't have one haircut through lockdown, and it was a thing of beauty for a few weeks.
You're looking wonderful. You are looking wonderful. I've got 3 quick questions to finish on, if that's okay. Rob, if you had to go into isolation for 1 week with one member of your playing staff, who would it be?
Probably right here and now, probably Harry Williams, because he has got some very interesting ideas and thoughts about what's gone on, obviously through the COVID thing, and about how governments are manipulating everything in every possible way that can lead to every other possible thing, and what's going to happen, what is genuinely happening with the DNA that's being collected in all these COVID tests we're having to be doing. And it's fascinating. I could talk to him for hours about it, and I only get the chance to catch up with him every now and again in training. And I find that kind of thing brilliant. That kind of thing that I think he kept me very entertained for at least a week, definitely.
Okay, so who's the one player you wouldn't want to isolate with for a week?
Oh, I mean, to be fair, someone like Henry Slade. Henry Slade's very OCD about some things, and there's nothing worse, is there, in isolation than having someone who has to be doing everything in exactly the same way over. That would drive you crazy. Exactly the opposite way around, I think.
He's also too good looking. He just makes you feel terrible about yourself beside Henry Slade. He's too good looking.
Yeah, there is that as well. There is that as well. But I think I might have a slightly better tan than him at the moment. So We can.
He's a stunning man. Final question. If you could replay one game again, what game would it be and why?
So with the same result, the same outcome, just to feel it all again?
No, we don't know the outcome. It's all on the line. It could be a final that you won and you just want to go through the motions that week, the 80 minutes, the celebrations, or a game which you felt was a missed opportunity.
I mean, I think it would be easy to say the finals. Obviously, I think last year feels like a huge missed opportunity for us in a lot of ways. But I think that would be a bit too simple. I tell you what would be a brilliant week to replay again was our first ever Heineken Cup game, which is away at Leinster.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember it. We probably could have won on the day. We certainly should have drawn.
Yeah.
We had a couple of real late hard calls against us that stopped us, at least drawing the game. And I think for the whole experience of playing first in the Heineken Cup, playing against a team like Leinster, and the performance we threw into it that day, completely out of the blue for everybody, that was a fantastic occasion in a lot of ways.
Brilliant.
Europe come for you guys. It's such an exciting season ahead for you, Rob. I got to point out, I'm not in my house. Do you know who's this I'm in at the moment? Did you hear the start of this? No.
You're down near us, aren't you? Aren't you down in Topship?
Yeah. Well, no. I've moved up because I'm going to show you. I'm going to let you guess. Right. I've come up to a friend's house and doing a bit of work at the moment, and he says he's the only former rugby player, as a Lego figure. So, can you guess who that is by that? I'll show you the back of the shirt in a minute. Any ideas?
Is that a Welsh shirt?
It's Welsh, yeah. It's a Welsh shirt.
Yeah.
There's the back of the shirt. There you go. It's Alfie. Is it? Yeah, it's Gareth Thomas's parents' house. Yeah, he's around somewhere. He said he's going to pop. This is his shrine, his mother's shrine to his career. He's going to pull it out. Yeah, she makes a good cup of tea. Rob, we'll see you down Exeter way soon, okay? And good luck. He's great talking to you. Really good talking to you. All
fantastic.
The best.
Good to see you guys.
Good
Look
stuff.
after yourselves.